All right, guys, so we got some major updates here on Doge that I want to give to you. So I should point out, in virtually every single court case that I've seen since Elon started illegally hacking in to our government systems, every judge, right, left, or center, has said, yeah, this is illegal. Yeah, you have to stop it. This doesn't make any sense. What are you doing? And there's been now, Jesus, I've heard numbers as high as over 70 lawsuits, not all of them as it pertains to Doge, but many of them do include Doge stuff. And every judge, even Trump-appointed judges, are like, what are you doing? We got to stop. This is crazy, right? Well, now we have a new update. Ready? This is from Kyle Cheney, the senior legal affairs reporter at Politico. Happening now, a federal judge who ordered the unfreezing of U.S. aid contract spending is voicing frustration as a Trump administration lawyer repeatedly refuses to say whether they have actually taken any steps to implement his 12-day-old order. Judge said, quote, I don't know why I can't get a straight answer from you. Are you aware of an unfreezing of the disbursement of funds for those contracts and agreements that were frozen before February 13th? The Department of Justice lawyer said, I'm not in a position to answer that. This continues to be going exceptionally badly for the DOJ, which can't seem to give a straight answer to the judge's question here. Quote, we're now 12 days in. You can't answer me whether any funds that you kind of acknowledge are covered by the court's order have been unfrozen? More. Ready? Breaking. Judge Ali has granted the motion to enforce his restraining order against the state USAID spending freeze. He has ordered the Trump administration to pay all invoices and letter of credit drawdown requests for work done prior to February 13th by 11:59 p.m. tomorrow. He continues, the judge says the Trump administration can take no action to impede foreign assistance funds for work already completed, and he's demanding by noon tomorrow any internal guidance the Trump administration issued to comply with February 13th restraining order. Wow. So it sounds like for this ruling in particular, they're saying for everything where the work was already done, you have to send out the funds. That's what it sounds like they're saying here. But again, it's a big deal that he's saying, I'm granting a motion to enforce a restraining order against the state and U.S. aid spending freeze. This is not rocket science, right? I told you from day one that the way the system works is pretty straightforward. Congress has the power of the purse. They decide what we're going to spend money on. Then if the president signs that legislation, that's law. That is end of it. From then on, all that money's allocated and it gets spent through the Treasury, right? You do have some asterisks with that because you do have the inspectors general who have been given the permission from Congress to look for waste, fraud, and abuse. You do have the Government Accountability Office, which also they're tasked with looking for waste, fraud, and abuse, and they handle all that stuff. But the way it works is very simple. You have congressional approval for the inspectors general and the GAO, the Government Accountability Office. Doge has none of that. So when Elon went to the Treasury and the Treasury Secretary at the time said, I'm not letting you into this system. What are you, crazy? That's wildly illegal. And then Elon basically forced the guy to resign, fired him as a result of that. And then he illegally hacked into the system. That was so wildly illegal, it's hard to even come up with a scenario that would make it more illegal. Right? And again, every judge now, hey, you can't do that. Hey, you got to stop that. Hey, you got to release those funds. Hey, what the fuck is this? Right? And now we have a fucking restraining order on the freezing of spending for U.S. aid and the State Department as it pertains to, it seems like as it pertains to contracts where the work was already done, but people are waiting for payment, right? This is wild, bro. And then again, you want to talk about constitutional crisis. You want to talk about coup. My understanding is that for many of these court orders, they are just not abiding by them. And that's why you have the DOJ stumbling and fumbling and bumbling in front of this judge, basically being like, I don't know if they actually listen to you with the thing you said last time. Like, one of the scariest aspects of this, though, I should point this out, and I saw this in a Legal Eagle video. He sort of laid this out. Basically, he was saying, yeah, it's all illegal, but who's going to do something about it, number one? And number two, are any of these things criminal, right? It's like, we've relied on the goodwill of people in positions of power. When a court says X, they carry out X. We've relied on the goodwill of those with power and authority. Well, now we're in a position where there is no goodwill. These are liars and con men and frauds. And so now you have the court saying things and they're like, we're just not going to do that. and that doesn't necessarily cross the line into being a criminal action. It's illegal. They can't do it. It's wrong, but there is no enforcement mechanism. And this is another issue with the courts in general is they have no, court-appointed army that can go in there with guns and say, you're going to do this or else, or we're going to lock you up, right? So it's illegal, but it's not something that is criminal, right? And it's like we're relying on the goodwill of these people, and they have no goodwill. So then it's like, well, what the fuck do you do about it? And this is where you have to get creative, right? This is where you have to say, the people need to get involved. The people need to get involved. We've talked about this, but you should have every government building that these assholes are getting into and illegally hacking into the systems, every one of those government buildings, security should lock the fucking door, and we should form a human chain around it to make sure that they can't get inside. Like, if they're not going to listen, we need to fucking make them listen. I've said this before, but you should arrest. I get it, right? That, like, Trump is president, so you can only impeach him. You can't arrest him. Elon, richest man in the world. In a world that made sense, he would actually be arrested. But why not find laws being broken by the Doge underlings, right? You absolutely can do that. You can put legal pressure on the people who are down the line in the chain of command. People at these agencies where if you let them into it, you're going to be fucking prosecuted, right? You got to do something. You got to do something. We can't just sit back and let them keep doing this. I mean, it's insane that we're even at this point, right? Like, everybody's got to wake the fuck up. Now, I said that none of this, at least according to that Legal Eagle video I watched, he was saying that, like, this stuff is illegal, but it's not actually criminal. So, like, you can't arrest Elon, right? But we're going to talk about this in the next segment. I got more on Doge. And he may actually have done something that's illegal, like criminally illegal, right? I'm not a lawyer. I don't know for sure. But the facts of the story are absolutely mind-boggling with how far he's gone. And this might be a case of just outright fraud. So we'll talk about that as well. But, I mean, this is a big deal. This is effectively like a restraining order for Elon Musk from USAID, basically saying, like, you have to release some of these funds, at least the ones for stuff that the work was already done. And, the judge is fucking hitting a brick wall. And that is, like I said, that's beyond a constitutional crisis. This is a robber baron coup where the world's richest man is getting away with the most egregious things anybody's ever seen. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.